Okay, yeah, welcome to our Excel TV, basically the Financial Modeling Academy. We haven't met in a long while. I know it has been very hard. This world is no longer the way it used to be, where we could easily patronize it. We have had so many funerals. On my side, I've had about 3 funerals. Yeah, but life has to move on. So today we'll look at Vlookup, and it's nice seeing Mrs. Lower, Victor. I don't know where others are, Natasha and I don't know where they are, but we can start. At least they will find the recorded version of this program. So we'll look at the Vlookup. What is Vlookup? It is one of the most, let me just explain this. It is one of the most powerful functions and the most used function after the sum function. Sum, you know, the one that say equal sum what. This is the second most used Excel function. But then we need to know how we use it. Even when you're dealing with data manipulation, you should know how you use your Vlookup. In your reports, when you have huge data, you want to summarize it. How do you use your Vlookup? But like I said, Vlookup is basically vertical lookup. It is basically vertical lookup. So let's first look at the syntax arguments. Vlookup has 4 syntax arguments, and I'll be explaining them. Let me just open this. It says VL. Just go to end cell, type equals VL so that you're able to see what I'm trying to show you. Type equals VL. The moment you see it highlighted, the moment you see the Vlookup highlighted, then press tab and press Control A. So there are 4 syntax arguments on this. The first one is the lookup value. This is your primary field, or this unique field that you want to use to fish out some certain set of data or information. So you need to actually know, what am I going to use, which is not so common, which can be uniquely identified. For example, in an organization such as Zanaco, where you have so many employees, or Boma, Mrs. Lower, where you have so many Mutale Banda, Mutale Mudenda, and all that, the best field you can use to fish out information might actually be the man number, because in an ideal situation, we expect that the man number is not going to be duplicated. Or it can actually be your NRC. But maybe in a smaller company where you know each other, you can use a name as a primary field or as a lookup value, which becomes that primary field that will help you to access the information. But then the rule on this VLOOKUP thing is that lookup value, the column that has what mirrors your lookup value, say you put your lookup value as Kapepe in there, because the data set you have has names of employees. So the rule is that the lookup value you're going to put should mirror with the first column that you're actually going to select in capturing this data, and I'll explain it in full as we move on. The table array. The table array is basically the data set from which you want to pick whatever, whether you want to pick the salary, you want to pick the place where this person lives. So you pick the whole data set. But like I said, the first column of that data set, of that array you're going to pick, it should mirror with what you have in the lookup value. The column index number. Here you instruct Excel the exact column in which it should fish out the data that you want, or the information you want. Is it in column 2? Is it in column 3? Is it in column 1? So you are asking Excel that what I want, you as you check for Kapepe, check for salaries, pick the salaries, but this salary you should concentrate in column 5. Then again, another secret about the Excel functions is that what you find in bold is mandatory. What you find in bold, anything that is bolded, when you open that function argument box, anything that is in bold, it means that it is mandatory. You cannot ignore any argument that is in bold. But the one that is grayed out, which is not in bold, it means it's mandatory, but you need to know why you're leaving it, or why you need it to be included. If you leave it, like in this case, it's either you put 0 or 1, or true or false. If you want an exact match, you are looking for Mabasilowa. All you want, if you put a 0 or false, is that all you want is the data specifically for Mabasilowa. But if you leave it blank, or you type 1, or you type true, it is going to pick anything, not an exact match, anything that is closer to Mwaba or closer to Slower. If it finds a Sinyangwe, it will pick because it assumes there's an SI there. If it finds Mwamba, it will pick because it knows that there's MWA, and it will assume that even Mwamba is okay to pick. So what you're going to face is that the data which will be picked will be for the first name or data criteria or lookup, which has been assumed because you did not state that you want the exact match. So if you want the exact match, like I said, type 0 or false. Now, I know I can't hear you. I'll assume that you're following. Please, if you have any question, just type in the comment box. Then I'll be able to check. But maybe just type in there, Mrs. Lower. Let me know if you are getting what I'm saying. Is my voice audible enough? Hello? I might be talking to myself.
I'm following, sir. Are you able to get me?
Hello? Try to type because I think the headsets I'm using, I can't get anything. Type. Okay, that's good. Okay, that's good. Okay, Victor is joining. Victor, you dropped off.
Yes, please.
But then we can continue. So let's go to B3. Go to B3. What we want to do here is to actually pick the rate, the tax rate from this tax code. We have been given this tax code here, where code A, the rate is 5%, code E, the rate is 47%, and these other rates based on the codes that we have in between. So we want to find the code for the rate for code B using Vlookup. And this is what we are going to do. Type equals. I'll give you as many examples as possible so that we get to understand the principles. Equals VL. The moment you type VL and it shows that there's Vlookup, they have been highlighted in blue. Please press tab. Then press Ctrl A. So we have the lookup value. What is the lookup value? This is the field we want to use, the unique number or element we want to use to fish out the tax rates. And in this case, the lookup value is in A3. So you click A3. You click A3. Then you go to the table array. Like I said, if you check where we have this B, meaning that we cannot start from here going like this, because the first column in this table array, it does not mirror what you want from the lookup value. So you're using the lookup value as an identifier. Like I would say, when you find people who are putting yellow, it means that they are thieves. So you are using yellow as a lookup value to search for thieves. So in this case, the table array, like I'd advised, the first column of the table array, Victor, it should actually mirror what is in the information in the lookup value. So in this case, it will be this. So you check where you have the codes. It's the first column. Why? Because the lookup value in A3 is a code. So if I'm looking for John Nyambe, and I use John Nyambe as a lookup value, a unique number, then the data set I'm going to pick, the first column of the data set should actually contain the names of the employees or the names of the customers. Assume you are getting it. So that is what we have picked. Now we are going to go into the column index number. with the column index number, all you are doing, you are instructing the program. In this case, the VLOOKUP thing, you are instructing it to which column it should pick the information you want. And in this case, we have column 1, column 2. We want to pick from column 2, so type 2. But if we leave it like this, anything that is closer to B will be picked. But what we want to do, we want to pick an exact match. And in this case, if it is an exact match, you can type false or 0. Remember that false is 0, 0 is false, 1 is true, true is 1. It does even explain down here on the range lookup. So whenever you are trying to look up data and you want exact data, please put a 0 or type false. So do this, I'm giving you just some few seconds. We'll go to another example. So then now you can press OK, Victor. So it shows you that it's 15%, meaning that if you change this code, and the advantage of VLOOKUP, it is not case sensitive. So if I type a small b here, sorry, to give me that. If I type a C, it will take me to 35. If I type D, it will take me to whatever. It's not case sensitive, meaning that you can use your capital case or lowercase. It is still going to see. It is that intelligent. But there are some functions that are case sensitive. If I type E, it will give me that. If I type F, it will show not applicable, NA. That's what I expect. Okay. Now, before we look at this other example, let's just create some data here together so that we understand what we are doing. Let's say we have customers. Just type that. We have town. And maybe customer number. Then the total sales by that customer. How much you have made on that customer. Okay. Don't mind about the creating these borders. Don't mind. It's just in me. Don't mind. You don't even need to do it. So we have maybe the first customer, say Zambif. We have, say, Zesco. We have NatSafe. We have Kalonga Milling. We have Zambia Sugar. We have Luvande. We have KCM. We have CEC. We have Zanaco. We have, say, UTH. These are our customers. We have NAPSA. Sorry, this should be under customers. I'll cut. So cutting, obviously, you know, guys, is Control X. Then you go press Control V. Control X, then you press Control V. Okay. So we want to show where these companies are headquartered or whatever. So maybe we say Zambif Chisamba, Zesco, let's say Lusaka, not Save, let's say Livingstone. Kalonga Mine, let's say Kawe, Mazabuga, Luvambe Chilabombe, KCM Chingola, CC, let's say it's Kitwen, Zanaco, let's just say it's Ndola, UTH, let's say obviously Lusaka, NAPSA, let's give it Mongo. Then we go to the customer number. Customer number, we can just type 12, 13 here. These are customer numbers. Then the total sales that we made from Zambif, or how much Zambif bought from us. So here we'll say maybe 1, 3. Let's just put the separators, commas, right click, you go to this, remove the So from Zesco, maybe it was 500,000. From NatSafe, it was 250,000. From Kalonga Mine, from Kalonga Milling, we made 604,000. From Zambia Sugar, we made 310,000. From Luvambe, it wasn't big business, so 50,000. KCM, it was 75,000. CEC, maybe we made 23,000. Zanaco, we made 713,000. UTH, it was good business, 1.5, not 15 million, that's too much. NAPSA, we made maybe 900,000 to be fair. So this is what we have there. So now what you want to do, maybe in the boardroom, you're in the boardroom and they're asking you all these questions, and you have a very huge spreadsheet. You cannot be showing them what is in the spreadsheet. So you can create a small model where you actually show, you show, they want to check on the amount, for example. So I would say customer, just type there, customer. This is your drop down. So let's start with customer first. With customer, you have your customers in your database, so you can create a drop-down list. And this is how you create your drop-down list. There are a number of ways in which you can do it. But the first one, maybe let's just here, other than just looking at Vlookup, let me show you how you can come up with a name range. So this is what you do if you want to do your name range. You highlight what you want to name. In this case, you highlight what you want to name. The shortcut is out MMD, not PF, not UPND, out MMD. So if you press out, then you press MMD, you have this. So we can name that. If you want to use that shortcut, which is basically out, you press out, then you press MMD. This is on the name range. Out MMD. You highlight. If you don't want to do out MMD, you can right click and go to define name. You can see what is down here, define name. So you'll be able to define the name. Or you can do out MMD. That is if you have the confidence now of using shortcuts. Or if you don't want to do that, you can go to formulas and go to name manager. There's name manager here, but you don't go to the name manager, you go to define name. So you define name like that. Or if you don't want to do that, you can go to the name box, just on your far right, on top there, here in the name box, and you can type whatever you want to define. But the rule is that you should not leave space. If you are creating two names, two words, you should not leave space in between. You can put an underscore or something like that to fill up that space. But in this case, you can use whichever you want to use. Learn to start using shortcuts, which is out MMD. So we are going to name it as customers or customer. Okay, Okay, let me repeat slowly and slowly. Thank you, Mrs. Slower. You highlight the column or the data set that you want to name. So in this case, we want to name that part there. We want to name it as customers. So I said, once you highlight, you can right click and go to define name here. You click on define name, then you can define whatever name you want. That's the first method. The second method, you can go in the name box and just type the name you want to have in there and press enter. The other method, you can go to formulas and go to define name. You can come here and define the name. Or if you are confident with your shortcuts, you can just press out, then type MMD. You can do that. So let's go to the one that is slightly easier, a bit longer though. You can go to formulas and click on define name. So on this one now, we can type customer, and press OK. And press OK. Good, good. So we want to come up with a drop down here, just next to customer. That drop down will to give us a list of customers. So instead of first going to the shortcut, first the shortcut in coming up with a list, a drop down list. The shortcut is out, A, V, V. But then let's first ignore the shortcut. What it is here, you go to data, then you go to data validation. Some Excel, maybe it's not even going to have to be written like this. You'll see, is it a green tick? So where there's a green tick, that's where data validation is. So you click there, then you go to click on any value, Mrs. Lower, that drop down. From any value, click on list. Victor, click on list. When you click on list, under this source, remember that you had already defined the range. So all you need to do is to type equals customer. Make sure the spelling is on point. Not what you have defined is written differently, and what you are now putting in the data validation is also different. You are not going to get what you want to get. Okay, let me repeat on data validation. So remember, we have typed customer here. In V, this is where we want to have a drop-down list of all our customers. A drop-down list of all our customers. We don't want to start typing. We want just to be fishing out using a drop-down list. So after clicking in there, you then now go to data. From data, you then go to data validation. You click on data validation. You click on data validation. Then you check on this drop-down arrow on any value. You pick list. You select list like this. Then you can type what you want to type. So I'll be there soon. Let me do another shortcut while you're still there using the Alt AVV. So I'll just press Alt AVV like this. It's the same thing, and go to list. So under list, under source, you type equals, under source, you type equals, then type customer, the name that you defined that range. If you didn't define any range, you can just highlight what you want to pick like this. But remember, you see it showing customer, so meaning that it was already highlighted. You can just leave it like this, or you can just type. So here, if I wanted, I would just say equals customer. Let me know if you have done that. Just type on in the chat box or comment box. Let me know if you are where I am. I'm waiting. Victor, yeah, because. Okay, there's a comment here. Okay, that's very good. Victor, are you also there? So, having typed equals customer, then you press OK. And if you have gotten it correct, you even see that range that you defined being highlighted. So you can press OK. Oh, okay, okay. But then just follow through. Obviously, we'll have to we'll post it on YouTube. So here now, Mrs. Lower, try to check what is in the drop down. What is in the drop down? When you click that drop down, what are you seeing? That drop down should contain the names of customers. So in this case, let's pick NatSave. Very good, very good. Congrats, congrats. So we have the NatSave there. Let's take it down here. So I've picked NatSave. And let's put the border or to be highlighted like that. So in this case, I want to show if we were picking town or what and what. So in this case, we want to show, let's say, for the town. We want, once we pick not save, all we want to do, using Vlookup, we want to know in which town is this not safe. So let's use Vlookup. We are practicing here. Let's use Vlookup. So say equals Vlookup tab Control A. So sorry. So in this case, the lookup value is the customer, who in this case is not safe in V6. So click V6. Mrs. Lower, click V6 and let me know if you have done the correct thing. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Okay, let me check on your comment. Okay, it doesn't matter. It's V7. Okay, that's okay. Then the table array. If we wanted on this table array, we would have still highlighted the whole array and named it. And I'll show you in the next part. But for now, we will highlight this whole array up to there. But then the column index, because we're looking for the town. So the town is in column 2. So meaning that after I've highlighted this, we'll go this side and type 2 like that. But we want an exact match, because if we leave it like this, not save, it's going to show heatwave. But we want an exact match, and this is why we will need to type a 0 like that. And we'll be able to see a preview down there. It will show us the preview of the output. So to be that V6, you highlight the whole thing. Let me know that you have highlighted. If I come here, let me know that you have highlighted this whole thing there. Let me just re-highlight it, this part. When you're here, you can do this part like that. Let me know. Let me check on the comment. Okay, very good. So having done that, and range lookup, you type 0 because what you want is an exact match. If you have done that, that is cool with me, then you can comfortably press the OK button. So in this case, for example, if we wanted to know the town and the total sales made from that particular company, so it would show sales here. So method 2 on the table array, I don't want you to start retyping the table array. So I'll rather So we go to the table array. We want to check on sales, but then, like I said, remember on the table array, we just highlighted like this when we went to the Vlookup function. But if we want, we can highlight this whole thing here like this and rename this part. So what can we name it? Maybe we can name it data. So I'll show you method 2 of naming it. You can go to the name box, or you can use the first option you used. So if I go to the name box, check where my cursor is, here, in the name box. Then I'll type data. And once you type that, then press enter. Press enter. You can type anything. Press enter. Yeah, disturbing me. Then now we go to sales. We do the same thing, the Vlookup equals VL, especially when you're still learning on how to use your Excel for modeling purposes. It's better you start open the function argument box because they help you in an event that you get lost on some interpretation or some syntax argument. At least you have that micro notes, so to say, to guide you. So here, the lookup value is not safe in V6. In the case of Mrs. Lower, it is in V7. Then the table array, instead of me highlighting the whole table array, remember that we have already defined the table array. So in this case, since we have named it, I can just type data.
Daddy, I want to say something I can delete. It's again.
You're disturbing me. From there, then you go to column index. The column index, starting from the first column of the data set, which is basically the customers, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's actually column 4. It's in column 4. So you type 4. Okay, how did you get it wrong? Where? What I said, in case it was on the naming, I said you highlight this whole thing. You can go to data and name it, or if you don't want to do that, you can go to formulas, then you can go to define name, then you name that range. In this case, we name that range as data. That is what we did. If you got it wrong, if you did not define it properly, the best thing would be to do this. You go to formulas, you go to the name range. Like in this case, I named it as data. I go to data, I can edit or I can delete the whole thing like this. I delete. Then I get back now and rename. So highlight the whole thing like that. You can right click. You can right click on define data, define name. On define name, then you can then now type data and press OK. It's telling me you know that. Then press OK. Your 4. So you name it as data. I hope it's okay, Mrs. Lower. Okay, so like I said, how you delete it, you go to formulas, then you go to name range, you check, it will give you the list on the name range. It will give the list of what the names that you have defined. So in this case, I defined the data, then I think maybe I didn't define it properly. I can edit it. By editing, then I can write whatever I had to write, what I need to write, which is correct, or I can delete. So in this case, you can edit or delete and press OK. Let me know if you have done it correct now. Could you put me in the know if you have done it correct? Mrs. Lower? Put me in the know if you have done it correctly. So meaning delete that name that you have put. Highlight, check the name that you have put in there and delete it. If you have done it correctly, then that's okay. It's fine if it exists. If it exists, then it's fine. It's okay. I'm happy if it exists. So if it exists, then you can do equals VLOOK tab Control A. So in this case, now you look at the lookup value, which is not safe. In your case, it's going to be V7. Then the table array, the table array, for me, I actually typed data. I named it as data. The column index, because I want to pick the total sales. So the column index is in column 4. So I'll type 4. The range lookup is 0, and I'll type 0. So I have the lookup value, I have the table array, column index, and the range lookup. Are we there? But for me, I think there's something wrong. There is something wrong, because I cannot see the output here. There's something wrong. Okay, let me just run through again. Let me first remove the thing down here, or formula. Let me go to the name manager, and I'm deleting the range. So let me start. So the first thing we are actually doing, we are naming this range. So we are naming it. So I'll go to, sorry, my internet has been very bad. Okay. So what I was saying, I have highlighted this data set, and I'm going to formulas, or I can just right click and go to define name. If I don't want to do that, I can go to formulas and go to define name. So here I want to define this whole range as data, and I will press OK. Then I go now, we go to Vlookup. With the Vlookup to be equals VL tab, Control A, I open it like this. So what is the lookup value? Here is V6, which is not safe. For you, it is V7. The table array, I've already defined the table array as data. The column index, it's in column 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's in column 4 because I want to pick the total sales. Okay, you're saying for me data is coming out as the name for Zambif. What have you defined? What's the name of the data set? Have you defined it as Zambif? You should use the name that you have defined it. Because you see, by default, let me just come back there. Let me delete what I defined. I'll go to name manager. I defined it as data. I'll delete this. Meaning that you did not define it. So you delete whatever you had defined. Let's redefine it. We are not going to call it data. Let's call it something else. So highlight the whole thing like this. Just highlight it for me, or come up with a different name. Highlight it for me. If you have done that, let me know. Okay. So after highlighting, go to formulas on top, go to define data. So you see by default, it picks the name of the first cell. You know you're making noise, huh? Go and watch TV. So by default, it picks the name of the first cell, sorry. But then we have to change that. Let me call it, for example, Mwaba. The whole data set, I've called it Mwaba. So name it, whatever, name it. But don't forget what you have named it. Okay, what have you named it? Please let me know. What have you named it? Okay. So then press OK. Then go now to your cells down there. Check where my cursor is, which for you it's going to be in V9, I assume so. So I'll type equals VL, which is Vlookup, Control A. So the lookup value in this case is V6. In your case, is V7. Then go to table array. Victor, I hope you're following. You go to table array. In the table array, I named that range, that data set. I named it as Mwaba. I don't know what you named it. I named it as Mwaba. Then the column index, the data that I want to fish out, is in column 4. So I'll type 4. And I want the exact match. So I'll type 0. So please do this for me. Okay, that's very good. Congrats, that's very good. Then press OK down there. Press OK. We can even put the separators. So in this case, if you check on NatSave, you can see that NatSave is in Livingstone and the total sales is 250, which we are seeing the other side. If we say we change the drop down from NatSave to, for argument's sake, to Zambif, it will show that Zambif is in Samba and the total sales is 13. If you decide to change this to UTH, it should be able to give us 1,500, 1.5 million, and you have Lusaka there. Is it what you're getting, Mrs. Lower? Hello? I need feedback. I need feedback. I need feedback. You're too quiet. Hello? Your drop down is not responding. I'll ask you to, because you have to do it correctly, I'll ask you to share screen. Let me stop sharing, just share screen. Please share your screen if you can. Share your screen, share your screen. Okay, I'm sure you should be able to go through the video. Oh, okay, understand. Understand. Okay. So you just after this, please try to follow that. We will not go to Vlookup, we'll just finalize on Vlookup so that you have time, both Victor and yourself, to just go through and internalize the concepts. Okay. So the other part on this Vlookup thing, where you don't pick the exact match. Where you don't pick the exact match, meaning that you don't use a 0 or false. And you can use it, for example, if you're modeling your business where you have discounts. So you're giving discounts based on the quantities that are being bought by your customers. Or alternatively, for the concept of this mobile money business, such as Airtel money, MTN money, what else? And the number of those others. So what it is that you're actually saying, if someone is sending any amount from 1 to 100 kwacha, you're actually going to charge a 5 kwacha. Anyone who is sending from 101 to say 300, you're going to charge 10 kwacha. And anyone sending above 600 kwacha, you're going to charge 25 kwacha. And this is how you're going to do it. If you want to use your Vlookup, all you do, you ignore the last argument box. And this is what you're going to do. Say equals Vlookup, Control A. So here, what is your lookup value? Is H17, where you have a 65 kwacha. Someone is sending a 65 kwacha. What is the table array? This is the table array. Please just check and follow through. It goes up to column 4. That is the table array. The column index number, you want to pick the charges, which will be in column 4. You ignore down here. If you wanted, you could even type true or 1. But if you ignore it, Excel assumes that you don't want to find an exact match. I'm done. No, you are done. You're disturbing me. So we are not going to put anything there. Victor, in case you missed what I was saying, that when you open these functions and you find that a function has arguments, syntax arguments that are in bold, it means that that is mandatory. You cannot leave out that argument. But where it's grayed out, you can leave it out, but you need to know where you're leaving out. So here now, you don't put anything there. So all you do, you press OK. Okay. So on sending cash, someone who is sending 65 kwacha, the charge is 5 kwacha. So if changes, you are sending, for example, 70 kwacha, it used to be 5 kwacha. If you are sending 120 kwacha, the charge is going to be 10 kwacha. If you are sending 209, it is going to be 20 kwacha, or it's still going to be, unless you are sending 313, it's going to be 20 kwacha. Any amounts over 600, you're actually going to be charged 25 kwacha. This is how you can use your Vlookup without including a 0 or 1, a 0 or false, because you don't want an exact match. I know today it has been very difficult. I can't hear you, but this is where we end. Tomorrow we can go to the Vlookup. I'll post this video immediately so that you have time to go through. Where you have questions, you can give me a call, and I'll certainly help you. Even when we meet tomorrow on Vlookup, I'll have to go back to Vlookup if there are certain issues that you couldn't understand. Thank you so much, and keep yourself safe.